Hi, friends. I just wanted to take a moment today to address uh, several groups of people. And the first group I want to address are the John Grudens of the world. Now, I'm going to do this unscripted because I want to speak from the heart. So that means I may wander around a little bit. So please bear with me and I'll try to bring it back around so it all makes sense. And it also means I might end up leaving something out that I wanted to say. But I think I'll be able to get the gist of it um, with hitting on most of the points. So let's address. I'm going to address the John Grudens of the world. I want to address the straight community. I want to address the LGBTQ community. I want to address the Black community, people of color. I want to address everybody because I think it's been a long time coming that this needs to be said. So first, the John Grudens of the world. Go fuck yourself. I'm so sick of listening to you baby ass little men who are so insecure that you need to feel this desire to put other groups of people down in order to build yourself up. I'm sure you sound like a tough guy to all your white friends there, John, that want to think like you do. Now, if that's what it takes for you to build yourself up, then you're not the strong macho guy you think you are. You're an insecure little boy who feels the need to put others down so that your light shines brighter, and it doesn't. What a mental midget you are. I mean, seriously. You remember, folks, you remember when you graduated high school, some of you went to college, some of you went on to get a job, whatever you did. And you go back and you visit your hometown 20 years later, 30 years later, 40 years later, and you find that there are people that who peaked in high school. They never went anywhere, they never did anything with their lives. Well, the same thing happens to people who become successful. They peak in high school when we talk about their emotional uh, and mental state. They, when you have someone like John Gruden who calls people queer or faggots, where are you? And you still think you're back in the 70s? Is that when America was great for you? Was back in the 70s or the 50s even? When there was still segregation, was that the great America that all these people keep talking about? Because maybe it was great for you, but guess what? It wasn't great for everybody else. It wasn't great for black people who weren't allowed to ride on the same bus or drink from the same water fountain or eat from the same restaurants. It wasn't great for veterans who had to go to a war that was they were fighting for corporations, not for America's freedom, which is a bunch of bullshit that we keep being fed year after year, every war that we go into. It wasn't great for gay people who had to hide in the closet for fear of being ostracized or beaten or worse. So fuck your America that you thought was great back in the day, just because you were white and it was great for you. What a self-centered way to look at things. And you know, and here's the thing. I see that becoming more prevalent throughout this country, and it's a sad state. It really is. It's a sad path that we're going down because we're caring less and less every day about each other, and you can see it in the divide between us. And you see these grifters that are out there like Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and Anna Kasparian and the list goes on. Milo Yiannopoulos, Dave Rubin. They're out there just spewing out bullshit they don't believe because they can pander to a certain group and they know they're going to make money. So they're benefiting, they're profiting off of America's misery. They're causing it, they're helping to cause it, and they're okay with that. I have no respect for people like that. And I have no respect for people like John Gruden. Now, having said that, I have a dear friend who is a big fan of John Gruden's, and he said, "Kurt, I just don't believe that he's a racist or that he's a homophobe. That he just said these things to sound tough." And maybe my friend is right because I don't know John Gruden. I only know John Gruden by his actions, just like I know anybody else by their actions and don't know them personally. And so my judgment comes off of that. So if my friend is right, then John Gruden will man up and he'll apologize. Not some half ass apology that he gives just to save his ass so he can get another job. But if he truly means what he says, he'll give a wholehearted apology and do whatever he can to make amends for his stupidity. Because here's what I need you, John Grudens, to understand. I'm a grown-ass man, and I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't give a fuck what you say, because you mean nothing to me. Nothing. I could care less what you think about gay people. However, there are young gay kids out there who look up to you, who love football, who may love the Raiders, who may have idolized you, John Gruden. And then they hear you talk down about gay people. How do you think that fucking makes them feel, you fucking insignificant little ass? Did you consider that even for 1 second? No, because you don't think about anybody but yourself. People in your position, whether you want to be a role model or not, you are. Because there are going to be kids out there who idolize you because of who you are and what you do. And if you're not smart enough to realize that, then you don't deserve to be in that position to begin with. Don't worry about us adults. We'll be okay. We don't give a fuck about you. But why don't you start thinking about the kids? How would you feel if your kids were bashed and we talked about straight kids as being stupid or something that was less than? How would you think your kids would feel? Would you even care? If you seriously take a good hard look at yourself. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope my friend is right. I hope John Gruden is a good man who just got caught up saying stupid shit, because God knows we all have. And most of us who are older, we're very fortunate that we weren't born in a time where we had cell phone cameras and we had social media that put our shit out there to the public in every little thing that we did, because very few of us, if any of us, would be able to get through this unscathed. So I'm giving John the benefit of the doubt right here to go, here's your chance, motherfucker. Show me what you're made of. But here's what I'm going to also say. If you can't give a heartfelt apology that where you truly mean what you say, then don't fucking give it. Because then not only you are racist and a homophobe, but now you're a little bitch, because you bowed down and fucking kissed ass. So then I'm going to have, if it's even possible, less respect for you than I did previously. So if you mean what you said, fucking own it. At least fucking own it. Don't be a little bitch. Now, onto the LGBTQ community. You know, I want you to understand that what John Gruden did, that's racist. That's homophobic. That's punching down. There are a few, and I do mean few, of you loudmouths out there who you think you're advocates or you think you're allies of the LGBTQ community, and you want to push this false narrative that people like Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan are homophobes or transphobes or racist, and they're not. They're not punching down. They're speaking the truth, and you don't like the truth. Well, too fucking bad. If you don't like the truth, then the problem is with you. It's not with them. And there's nothing that Dave Chappelle said on his last special or Joe Rogan for that matter. I went to the Joe Rogan concert. He told gay jokes. He told trans jokes. The opener told gay jokes. And not once did I feel belittled. I remember going to a comedy show once back in the early 2000 where a comedian stood up and was trying to bash gays. And he said, "Is there anyone in here who's gay?" Because I knew what he was going to do. And I stood up and I said, "Yeah, right here." And I said it 3 times and the fucker wouldn't look at me because he was scared. So he half-heartedly told his joke and moved on real quick, because he knew I wasn't going to stand by and put up with his shit. That was trying to punch down. So quit trying to be offended about every little fucking thing and think somehow that we're special, that we're not allowed to be joked about, because we do some funny, stupid ass shit. And we have every right to be laughed at as every other fucking group out there. Now, I'm saying that, Judge Joe Brown, fucking shut your fat, ugly ass and don't fucking talk. You're old and you're a hypocrite. You want to sit there and say, "Oh, gays shouldn't be up in arms about being made fun of. You know, blacks are made fun of." Really? Tell me the last fucking time you saw a white guy tell a joke about a black guy where he wasn't putting himself down. So shut the fuck up because you're a liar. Black people should be able to be made fun of. Asian people, gay people, straight people. I don't give a fuck who you are. Nobody's above that. And the people who do the best is South Park. I love fucking South Park because they get away with it. Why? Because they use animation. That's why. It's no different than what Dave Chappelle says or Joe Rogan, but because they're real people, you feel like you can attack them. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I will almost guarantee you every one of you who are offended by Dave Chappelle's last special, you either didn't watch it and only read some things that he said out of context, or you were so busy ready to be offended that you weren't going to listen to what he truly said. You don't speak for the majority of gay people. And I'm not claiming that I do, but I will tell you this. Every gay person and trans person that I've spoken to, not one of them was offended. They were all fucking laughing their asses off because they see the ridiculousness of our community at times. Like these trans people are trying to say that trans women don't have an advantage in sports. Bullshit. And here's what I'm going to tell you. You know why it's bullshit? Because not one of these people who claim that there's no advantage, not one of them will debate a real biologist and have a discussion with them because they know they'll get trounced because they know that their narrative is bullshit. And I want the straight people to understand the majority of LGBTQ community understands this and doesn't buy into it. And especially the trans community. The trans community, they're pretty thick-skinned people. They don't normally get offended that easily. But when people speak out about this whole bullshit about the sports, it's not the trans community who's upset and up in arms. It's this little group of people who are pushing this false narrative and pushing their agenda to all ends. And they're bullshit and they're full of shit. They will call everybody under the sun a transphobe, including trans people. Blair White, who comes out and speaks common sense about this, they have called her a transphobe. They've called Martina Navratilova, arguably one of the greatest tennis players of all time, who's gay, who's a lesbian. And she said, this is unfair. How do you discount her opinion when she is a professional athlete who's competed at the level that none of these people have ever even dreamt of competing at, and discount her opinion simply because you don't like it? Sit your ass down and shut the fuck up. You speak out of your ass and you know it. Now, straight people. And this isn't all straight people. In fact, it's none of the straight people I know. And again, I want you to understand these generalizations that we're making, they're not true. They're coming from just the small minority that has a big mouth. But to those straight people out there who say, I had a client one time who asked me, we were talking about moving into a certain neighborhood, and he said, and I said, are you going to be looking for a house down there? And he goes, no. And I said, oh, why? And he said, how do I tell my son when he sees two men walking down the street holding hands? How do I tell him what that is? And I go, what do you mean? This is what you tell him. Those are two people who are in love with each other. It's that fucking simple. Because here's the thing. If their kid is old enough to see heterosexual relationships, he's old enough to see homosexual relationships. Quit being fucking stupid about this. Honestly, are you that threatened by gay people? And one last thing on this. The ones who argue, the ones who are the most adamant against gay people almost always are the ones in the closet. So if you have somebody in your life who's, I hate fucking gay people because of this, I hate gay, watch him carefully, because I'll guarantee you he's in the closet. Because otherwise he wouldn't be that outraged by it. But he's got to point fingers everywhere else, and no one watches him. It's just, can we get past this already, for crying out loud? It's 2021 and you people are still acting like you're back in 50 years ago. It's ridiculous. And again, this is not the majority of straight people, just as it's not the majority of trans people or gay people that think this way. It's just these mouthy little fuckers with the microphones who have nothing better to do with their time than to talk their shit and to push their false agenda. And I want to say this too, to those allies of the trans community or the gay community. It does not make someone a homophobe if they don't want to date a gay person. It does not make them a transphobe if they don't want to date a trans person. No more than it makes me a misogynist because I don't want to date women. It makes me gay. So quit with your stupid comparisons. They don't make any sense, and the majority of us all know that. But unfortunately, again, because of people like I mentioned earlier, because of Tucker Carlson and other little grifters out there who are profiting off of dividing this country up, that's what they'll say. Oh, this is what the left believes. No, it's not. No more than Rachel Maddow pushing her shit, saying, "Oh, this is what the right believes." No, it's not what the majority of the right people on the right believe. So stop it. You're tearing this country apart, and for what? For profit? Really, can you look yourself in the mirror? Any of you, can you look yourself in the mirror and go, I'm proud of the job I do? Because if you can, then you're a shitty human being. Now, I had a thought about people of color, and I think I spoke about it a little bit there. I think that there are people out there who will call certain black people Uncle Toms because they don't agree with their narrative. Because again, just like gay community, just like the straight community, just like every other community, there are some disingenuous actors in the black community, and they're pushing their narrative, like those fucking girls from ASU who tried to kick the two white guys out of the cultural center. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know that those boys didn't go in there looking for trouble. All I know is that they found it in a way that it shouldn't have been found. You want to see racism? Watch those girls. That's racism. And you can't change the definition of racism to fit your narrative. So when you say, oh, black people can't be racist, the fuck they can't. I know black people who are racist. They're not friends of mine, but I know them. And the funny thing is, go on something like YouTube, you'll see black people after black people after black people sitting there going, that was racist. Because they know it's racist and they're calling that shit out. So don't believe white people. Don't believe that black people all think all white people are racist, because the majority of black people don't believe that. And they understand that there is racism from all groups. We need to quit buying into this bullshit that keeps being shoved down our throats and just go, no, I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. I'm not going to believe this shit. I'm not going to believe the worst of my neighbor, whether they be black, whether they be straight, gay, whatever. I'm not going to believe the worst in them until they show me the worst in them. Take people by their actions, not their words. That's why I'm giving John Gruden a chance. I'm going to say, show me that you're not that person that sent those text messages out or emails out. Show me you were just a dumbass at the time, like many of us can be from time to time. Show me that that was just a stupid, stupid fucking thing for you to do, and you know it. How about we start being honest with ourselves? Because very few people are. We see it day in and day out, people lying to themselves, we see in lying to us. You can't walk into a fucking store and tell people you can't wear a mask because you have a health condition, and in the meantime, that you can't breathe, and yet you can scream at the top of your lungs for 5 minutes straight, and yet you have a breathing problem. You're a liar. Who? Why would anybody respect you at all when you can't even be honest with yourself, let alone anybody else? I know this is a rant, and most of the time I don't do these. I've thought about doing them a few times, but what I do is I wait 24 hours before I decide to do one of these things, because I want to make sure. I go, was it really worth putting this out here? I waited my 24 hours, and this time I said yes, this was worth it. So if I offended you, good, then I know who you are. But just keep in mind, if you have a problem with the things I said, it's not me you have a problem with. It's the truth you have a problem with. And maybe you should take a good hard look in the mirror and see if you like the person that you see in that mirror. And if you're not being honest and you still like that person that you see, then you're a piece of shit. And I don't care what you think of me or anyone else for that matter. Your opinion matters not at nil. It matters nil. Because you are not going to be the people who end up winning this war. You're not going to be the people who end up running this country or running this world. There are more of us who are decent human beings, who do care about the truth, who do have honor, who do have integrity, and we will win this. We may not be the loudest voices out there, but we have the numbers. And eventually there's going to be more and more pushback until you fuckers are silenced. And I don't even care that you continue talking, but nobody's going to listen to you because they're going to know you're a liar and you're full of shit. So, with that said, I've never ended a episode like this before, so I'm not quite sure how to say this. But for you people out there who I spoke about, the black people, the white people, the straight people, the gay people, the trans people, the Asian people, the Hispanic people, everybody out there who knows that they're good people, know that you're not alone, and that we'll get together and we will overcome these people who want to divide us. We'll find a solution to make sure that happens. But in the meantime, keep pushing back. If you see someone lying, call them out, because if you don't, that lie will just continue to grow and people will start believing it. So don't let anyone make you feel bad if you call a lie out and they're going to go, what's it to you? I'll tell you what's it to me. It's our future. That's what it is to me, because I'm not comparing this to Nazi Germany, but that's exactly how it started. Telling one lie over and over again until it became the truth. And these assholes know that. And that's why they keep perpetuating these lies. And it's our responsibility to call them out. So with that said, folks, have a wonderful day. Hang in there. And we will prevail. Peace.